guess who came to say hello?
Milo, come on up. Milo.
Big ass cat.
Oh, hi, buddy.
Why are you picking me up? Okay, bye.
Oh, hard exit.
Yep.
Hello, fellow yappers. I'm Ruchi.
And I'm Shalini, and we're your hosts of Binge, Yap, Repeat.
We're two best friends who spend an embarrassing amount of time binge watching TV, and honestly, we just need to talk about it. If you're here, we're guessing you do too.
Fair warning, this is a spoiler-friendly zone. We will be discussing lots of spoilers. So, if you haven't watched the show yet, hit pause, go binge, and come back when you're ready to yap with us.
And now, it's yap time.
Hi everyone.
Hi.
Hi. So dumb. Well, so it begins. I guess I can give a life update. Currently recording this from Florida, which is part 2 of my move from New York to the Bay. I've gone from New York to Austin and then Austin to Florida, so I'm going in the wrong direction.
Oh no. She doubled her distance to the bay.
Yeah, it's been good though. I got in yesterday, last night, and my flight was super delayed. So I ended up going to bed at like 2 a.m. And my parents went to bed at 2 a.m. too. They go to bed at like 10.
They're like me.
Yeah, exactly. But it's good. I'm having chai.
Nice.
Cool.
Cool.
I guess before we get started, okay, so today we're going to talk about Love, Death, and Robots, but I think we have I don't know about if we have oopsie doopsies, but we have funsy onesies, right?
Yes, I have one funsy onesie that I wanted to talk about. Basically, so in our sirens episode, we were talking about how historically sirens are this half bird, half woman creature. And we were talking about them. And then as I was thinking about it, I realized that, do you remember Velas from Harry Potter?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they were these creatures that the Bulgarian Quidditch team brings out during the World Cup, and as the Vilas dance, all of the men are completely enthralled and they get into this trance-like state, and they're these really beautiful creatures, and Harry starts walking towards the window of the box that he's in, and then they stop dancing, and I don't remember exactly what happens, but for some reason the Vilas get upset about something, and then they start turning really scary and evil, and like they grow beaks and talons, and then they basically become these like scary bird women creatures. And so I didn't think about them at all when we were recording, or even when I was watching Sirens, or thinking about the creatures sirens, but yeah, I just remembered that as I was editing the episode, and I was like, oh, I want to add that in because I feel like that's the only modern depiction of any siren-like creature that we've seen.
Good call. Yeah, and then wasn't Floor was like half Vila or something, right?
Her grandmother was a Vila, yeah, so she's I guess quarter Vila.
Oh, I
Her grandmother
see.
was half Vila. I need to know this.
Shalini, Harry Potter trivia.
Oh yeah. Oh, I was right. Fleur's grandmother was a full-blooded Vila. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So Floor was quarter Vila.
Yes.
So birds, not mermaids.
Yes, those were birds, not mermaids. Mm-hmm.
But weren't there also like mermaid type things in
Yeah,
Harry
there
Potter?
were also mermaids in Harry Potter. Yeah,
Okay, they
they
just
live in the
weren't like
Great
the
Lake.
siren.
Correct. Yeah, they were just called mer people, and they just lived
Oh,
in the
yeah,
lake.
and they lived in the lake, right?
Yeah,
And they helped Harry out with like the gillyweed or something. I can't remember.
they're the ones guarding the um most important things to each contestant down in the lake, and yeah, that's when Harry uses Gillyweed to go get
Mm.
them.
That was my favorite book, The Goblet of Fire.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
And then it turns out that Harry and Hermione weren't a thing, and that was like solidified in the 5th book onwards, and I was like, I hate this series. Oh, I did want to give a shout out. I wanted to say thank you to everyone who is actively listening on Spotify or YouTube, especially if you are not our friends and family, because if you're our friends and family, you're obligated to listen to us. But if you're not, that means you actually like listening to us. And I really appreciate that. We really appreciate that.
Yeah, it means the world to us. Please, if you can, if you are listening, if you can comment or DM us on Instagram or something, and give us feedback or just share that you're listening. It would mean so much to us, and we're so glad that we can reach people more than just the people we know in our lives.
Yeah, every time we get like a YouTube comment from someone random who's like, "Oh, I listened to the whole thing. Like this was really nice. Like good job, ladies." It really means so much to us. So thank you so much for commenting and supporting us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, should we talk about Love, Death and Robots Volume 4?
We've put it off long enough.
Oh my God. Okay, so I am so curious to see how this episode will turn out. But yeah, let's let's do it. So today Shalene and I are talking about Love, Death and Robots Volume 4, which dropped on May 15th on Netflix and consisted of 10 episodes. So overall, Love, Death and Robots is essentially a collection of animated short stories that span several genres, including science fiction, fantasy, horror, and comedy. World class animation creators bring captivating stories to life in the form of a unique and visceral viewing experience. And that was from the Google card synopsis for Love, Death, and Robots. So like I said, there were 10 episodes. Can't Stop, Close Encounters of the Mini Kind, Spider Rose, 400 Boys, The Other Large Thing, Golgotha, The Screaming of the Tyrannosaur, How Zeke Got Religion, Smart Appliances, Stupid Owners, and For He Can Creep. One thing that I wanted to mention is, I think we had talked about this actually in the Black Mirror episode before, where all of these episodes are in shuffled order. So, the order that you probably saw them in, Shalini, is different than the order that I saw them in, et cetera, et cetera. So we say like, oh, episode one, two, three, four, but really everyone probably saw it in different orders. So I'm going to ask you the hardest question I've probably ever asked you on this podcast, Shalini. What did you think about Love, Death, and Robots Volume 4?
All right. I would say this was not my show. A lot of people told me I would like this show because I like Black Mirror, but I think one of the core differences is that this show is I guess because the episodes are so short, they can't really build out characters and, you can't really like feel much for the characters because you've just met them. And also, it's way more, I don't know, fantasy, sci-fi, space, alien focused than Black Mirror is, where Black Mirror is mostly realistic, just like with this technology, this extra technology aspect. And I'm not really a sci-fi fantasy person. And so I can't say I loved it. However, some things I did appreciate. Uh, I thought the animation included in each episode was very cool, and I loved that each episode was different. So that was fun. I loved recognizing the voices of actors that I know and then looking it up and being like, oh my gosh, that's this person. So I'm excited to talk about that. And I was trying to imagine, similar to in Black Mirror, when my mind kind of jumped to like, how did the creators think of this episode? I was always like, oh, they must have been like, let's create an episode around the Mandela effect. I was trying to think, how did the creators of this show decide to make this show? And my guess was, I don't know if this is true or if it's been confirmed anywhere, but my guess was that some animators were just playing around with animation styles and created some mock-up scenes of, oh, look how we can build out this world in this animation style. And then at one point they were like, should we just make a little show about this? And then they just turned it into episodes. So my mind took some interesting turns while watching this. Again, not my show. Some of the episodes really dragged on, even though somehow there were like 15-minute episodes, but I was like, please end. But
Oh no.
yeah, I guess that's where I'll stop. How about you?
I totally agree with you. I think there were some episodes where I was like, why did it just end? What do you mean? I felt like we just got started into investing into this world and then it ended at this pivotal moment. And I was really kind of like taken aback by that. I think I found myself saying, that's it after a couple episodes in this volume. Um, I agree with you about the animation style. I thought that was really nice. I feel like an analogy would be if you remember in Adolescence, the creators of Adolescence were like, "Oh, I just want to create a one-shot show and like what narrative would fit into that style? Let's figure it out." I think it was probably really similar here, except they were really boxed by this time constraint of we need to only do like 5 or 10 minutes or so. I guess I was really thrown off by that because I do think previous episodes of Love, Death, and Robot had at least 30-minute episodes, and there were
Hmm.
sequels as well to some of the storylines. So, yeah, it felt very, what's the term? Grab bag of things. Um, and I don't know if I really liked it either, honestly, this season. I appreciate how many cat references there were, like little cats in the shows. I really liked those episodes.
Yeah, that was
But
so funny when I messaged you and I was like, "Oh, I like this cat episode," and you were like, "Which one?" And I was like, "Wait, what?" Because I hadn't gotten to the he can creep one.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, that was funny.
Which one was your favorite episode out of all of the 10?
You know what? I actually think it was the smart appliances episode.
Yeah.
That one was so funny, and yeah, I think that also had the most star-studded cast, if I recall. And so it was fun to just be like, "Oh, who's this person?" and then look it up and be like, "Oh, who's that person?" And I don't think that one was all about one person, was it? It was just like random appliances owned by different people.
I think yes, but at the end they had two appliances by the Bowman family. Because
Oh,
they
okay.
referenced each other. It was the toilet being like, "Oh God, I have the worst job in the world," and then it switched to the litter box at the end, being like, "Let me guess, the toilet told you that he has the worst job in the world."
Amazing.
Yeah, I think that one was my favorite too, probably because there was that added bonus of, "Oh, I know that voice." So Ronnie Chang, I think, who was the blow dryer. I can't remember.
I think he was the electric toothbrush.
Electric toothbrush, yes. Ronnie Chang is the toothbrush. I clocked that one immediately.
Yeah.
Um, I didn't recognize any of the others, but I agree. It felt like they were more of the star-studded cast. And that was the episode that Netflix, I think, promoted on their socials a lot. I think it was that one and Close Encounters of the Mini Kind were clips that I had seen
Mm,
before.
okay. Did you look up who the other voices were?
I did, but I forgot.
Oh, great. Okay, so the first one is the thermostat. That was voiced by Melissa Villaseñor, who I recognize the name, but I don't know what I know her from.
Oh, she's an SNL.
Okay.
Oh, actually, I don't know how I know her,
Hmm.
but cool.
Okay. Maybe SNL. Maybe I
Yeah.
know her from SNL. Yeah, Ronnie Chang is the electric toothbrush. Amy Sedaris was the security camera.
Amy
She's
Sedaris, that was the other one that I recognized.
yes, her voice is so recognizable.
Yeah.
Um, listeners, she also voices Princess Carolyn in BoJack Horseman. Um, she was also in Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt and a few other things. Then the air purifier was Kevin Hart. I
Yeah.
also recognized his voice, but I couldn't figure out who it was.
Wow,
Then,
I didn't know that he was the air purifier. I didn't clock that one.
oh
Wow.
yeah. The shower head was Josh Brenner, who I think is Big Head in Silicon Valley.
Oh, yeah. Wow, that's funny. Yes. Nelson Spaghetti.
Yes, yes. The waffle maker is Nat Faxon, who I know from Loot, but I know he's been in other stuff. He's the nerdy love interest of Maya Rudolph in Loot.
Oh,
Um,
this guy. Okay.
yeah, he has a really famous face. I just can't remember what else I know him from.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking at his movies and shows. I don't recognize any of these shows, but I know that I know his face. He was also a part of Disenchantment, the Netflix animated series. I don't know if you ever
Oh,
watched that. Yeah.
the massager, they call it on IMDb, the vibrator, was voiced by Niecy Nash, who is the therapist in Never Have I Ever. What else was she in?
Niecy Nash. Oh, she was in Reno 911. She's an AP Bio
Okay.
with
Along with our man Dennis,
Alana
Glenn
Dennis.
Howerton.
Yes, from It's Always Philly.
And then lastly, do you know who the toilet was, or do you remember who the toilet was?
No.
It's Brett Goldstein, who plays Roy in Ted Lasso.
Oh, wow. I love that guy.
Me too.
Oh, Roy Kent.
Roy Kent.
Oh, yeah. Wow. What a star-studded cast.
I know, it was crazy. And I thought, like, I loved the little, like, shtick of the just telling a story of a human through its appliances.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was really funny. And just the toilet being like, how, like, why are we all intelligent? Like, was there a need? Why am I connected?
Please remove my intelligence. I don't want to know what's happening.
Also, the waffle maker being like, I've been here for years now. I'm gonna die a waffle virgin.
How real is that?
So real. I was like, I'm pretty sure my parents have a waffle iron that looks like that. That has also never been used.
Yup. Sounds about right.
Sounds about right. Well, okay, yeah, so maybe that was the one saving episode for this season.
Yeah. I guess what was this episode? The first one with the cat, the other large thing. I kind of liked that one too. It was a fun premise of, the world from a cat's point of view, and
Mhm.
kind of that theory that every cat is trying to take over the world. So that one was pretty fun too, but I don't know, something about the animation of that episode made everything just look so gross.
I think the way they portrayed the humans were really gross. Yeah.
Yeah, and like the apartment was gross and everything just looked dirty and dark.
Yeah. But I think that was the point.
Mm.
The one episode that I really did not like was how Zeke found religion.
Oh my God. I need to be so honest with you in this moment. I just skipped that episode 2 minutes in.
Wait, why? Okay, why did you skip it?
So that was, I think, episode 7 for me or something. And so I had already watched Spider Rose, which I did not understand and did not enjoy. I had watched 400 Boys, which I did not understand and did not enjoy. And when I
Yeah.
saw the Zeke episode start, I was like, I just know I'm not gonna like this, so I just
Yeah.
skipped it.
Yeah. Well, I'll give you the TLDR for that
Okay.
one. Basically, it's about this like crew that flies over. It appears to be Nazi Germany, and they bomb this church where some satanic ritual is happening. And I think they bomb it a little bit too late, it feels, because a demon was summoned, and then this demon basically goes into their plane and starts violently maiming all of the crew members, except for I think two or three of them survive. One of them being Zeke, who at the beginning of the episode was not religious at all, and then it turns out that the only thing that could kill or like injure this beast was the cross that one of the
Mm,
other crew members had. So then Zeke is like, oh shit, we don't know anything that goes on in the world, and I should be religious because that thing came from hell. And so I need to find religion. So I
mm,
don't know if it was an analogy to the horrors of war and having the horrors of war be so hellish that people kind of have to turn to religion as the only way to make sense of the horrors that they've seen. So that could be one reason, but just the way that they gratuitously pictured the violence that happened for these crew members, I was like, dude, I get it. You're like driving a spike through this guy's eye and like you're
Mm.
crushing this guy and then his like eyes like pop out. It was that kind of violence for every single crew member. I was like, I'm like, I don't want to watch this anymore. Like, I get it. They all
Yeah.
die. I get it.
That also reminds me, actually, very briefly, that reminds me of a statistic that my aunt sent me that was like 68% of doctors are religious, which is way over the national average of religious people. And I think it's a similar thing of doctors see such horrors, such unspeakable horrors, that they have to turn to religion to just make sense of it all. But
Mm.
anyway, um, how you felt about that with just like the overdoing of violence, really graphic violence. I felt that way about a few of the episodes. I felt that
400
way
boys.
about
Yeah.
yeah, 400 Boys, and I felt that way about the Tyrannosaur episode.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
It was so graphic, like showing them piercing the eye of a Tyrannosaurus rex, or sorry, of a Triceratops, and you know, chunking of flesh, and yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
no, I don't need
And that was
this.
actually How Zeke Found Religion was like the third one that I saw. So actually started out with 400 Boys, and
Mm,
then I think the second episode was the Tyrannosaurus Rex one. And then I think a couple episodes later, then I started watching How Zeke Found Religion. And I was like, like by that time, I was like, bruh, I'm
too
done.
much.
Too much. Just give me more
Okay.
cats.
Yeah. Okay, that's funny. When I was watching this, I forgot that it's shown in a different order to everyone. So my first episode was the Red Hot Chili Peppers concert, and
Oh,
I thought that was, when I watched it, I thought that was meant to be an introduction to the season because literally nothing happens in that episode. They just play the song. There's no story. It's just like an animated remake of an iconic concert of the Red Hot, or an iconic performance that the Red Hot Chili Peppers did in real life. And so, yeah, I knew that it was only 6 minutes long, and then 3 or 4 minutes in, I was like, oh, so like nothing's gonna happen? And then nothing did.
okay, yeah. I think we talked about my favorite. We talked about my least favorite. I think Can't Stop was like, huh? Like, what? Is someone just a huge fan of the Red Hot Chili Peppers that they're like, you know what would be sick, bro? Like,
Yeah.
let's do everything, but everything is the same. We're gonna animate your concert, but you guys are gonna be puppets.
Yeah. Yeah, someone really did that.
Yeah.
Actually, I want to look up that performance and see if the puppet animation matched the. Obviously, some things couldn't have been done for real because they were like flying and stuff, but um, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I did like how they incorporated some of the puppet stuff into the episode. Like, there was one guy that actually caught on fire and like burned his strings. I was like, it's
Oh, yeah.
it's like that's devastating. What the heck? They just kept rocking, kept going on with their concert. I
Kept
was like,
going.
okay, we're not gonna acknowledge that.
Doesn't stop the puppets.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Well, okay, I think it was the Slane Castle, Ireland one. I think it's a little different. Okay, in the real version, the guitar player has like a skeleton shirt and skeleton suit on. Did that happen
I
in
don't
the?
remember if I saw that. I mean,
Okay,
they did change outfits like many times
that's true.
at the
That's true.
end.
Main singer is shirtless with red pants on.
I think that was there in the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, well that's cool. I actually never knew what the Red Hot Chili Peppers look like, and it looks like they got it like the faces at least they got pretty accurate.
Nice. I
Yeah,
do
that's cool.
remember. I do. I think I do remember like looking up the bass player. Isn't he pretty famous? I mean, they're all pretty famous, but I
Uh,
think his name is like Flea or something. Yeah,
Flea?
Flea. I don't know why I know the bassist of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, but I do know the bassist. And
Very impressive.
yeah, I think maybe some like trivia questions or something. But I think out of everyone, he's the most famous, maybe because he looks interesting.
Oh,
Yep.
anyone listening to this episode is gonna be like, these guys suck. They're just insulting everything and everyone in this show. We're sorry, listeners. We're sorry. We try.
I think I think if I were a mega fan of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and I also was a mega fan of Love, Death, and Robots, I would have been like, this episode went so hard. But because I only have tangible, like positive, like very mildly positive feelings towards both of these things, I'm like, sure. I guess that is something like everyone has free will. If you wanted to create a puppet concert of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, you can do that.
They really showed that they can. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
This whole season was an exercise of free will.
Yeah, that's literally exactly what I was thinking. I was like, yeah, they must have just been like experimenting and they're like, sure, let's do it.
Because we can.
Because we can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will you be watching the next season or the next volume of Love, Death, and Robots?
No. During
Fair enough.
episode 3, which was Spider Rose, I think that's when I messaged you and I was like, I think I hate this show.
Okay, I didn't think Spider Rose was that bad. I mean, so with Spider Rose, I was like, okay, so the ending was like this pet just kills you and
Yeah,
takes
but then
your
when it was
form.
reborn, it kind of looked like her, right?
Yeah. So I was wondering, well, because when it ate the roaches, it kind of got like wings.
Roachy. Yeah.
It's pronounced Ruchi,
Creature plus cockroach equals Ruchi.
according to autocorrect. Okay, yeah. Wait, so what part of Spider Rose were you just like, oh, I hate this?
Just like every time she left and like floated back up to somewhere and like injected her head with something, I was like, I was like, what the fuck am I watching?
She has PTSD, Shalini. You've never just wanted to inject something
Oh my
in the
god.
nubbin on your temple.
No, I just couldn't. The one saving grace about that episode was that the creature was kind of cute. But then
Yeah,
it ate her. So.
yeah. It was very Stitch-like.
Yeah, it was very Stitch-like. Oh, speaking of which, I'm about to go see Lilo and Stitch later.
Hey, how fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, glad we talked.
Okay, are there any other episodes I wanted to talk about?
Yeah, let me see.
Uh,
I also didn't really understand Screaming of the Tyrannosaur. I guess it was another one of like Eat the Rich. Oh,
yeah.
fun fact on that. The host of Screaming of the Tyrannosaur, I was like, that guy looks like Mr. Beast. It sounds like Mr. Beast too. And then I think it is Mr. Beast.
Oh, that's cool. Remember,
Yeah,
and
the
you're like, oh,
host.
we should look at what Mr. Beast does. And I was like, who? You're like the biggest YouTuber in the world.
Yeah. He
Oops.
he is I think he is now the only billionaire under 30 to not have inherited his wealth. Yeah.
Wow. He's under 30? Wow. Impressive.
Yeah. I think he might be like 28. Born
Damn.
1998. So 27.
Wow. So impressive. Good for you, Mr. Beast.
Yeah.
All right. My last thing that I wanted to talk about in For He Can Creep, did you recognize the voice of the man who was writing stuff on the
The
walls?
the poet?
Yeah, the poet.
No, who is it?
It's Professor Slughorn.
What do I do with that information?
Sorry, it's the man who plays. Let me find his name. Okay, I don't know why I thought everyone recognizes his voice.
So disappointed with that answer.
So his name is Jim Broadbent. He plays Professor Slughorn in Harry Potter. He also plays a character in Game of Thrones, which I'm forgetting who exactly he was in Game of Thrones. When Sam Tully goes to the old city and like studies under this old guy, you know?
Who are you talking about? Who is Sam Tully?
Sam! Jon Snow's friend. Did you watch Game of Thrones?
Have I? This is like years ago that I watched it. Okay, now let me look up
Fair
Sam
enough.
Tully.
Okay, no, Sam's like John.
Oh, that guy, that
Yeah,
guy. Yes.
yeah, he's like the like portly friend of Jon Snow who has a heart of gold and like saves oh my God, the wildling girl from her dad and yeah. Yeah, so he and the girl, oh my God, what is her name? Tarly. Oh my God, I said Tully. Tarly,
Oh,
Sam Tarly.
Sam Tarly. Yes.
Yes. Uh Grand Maester. Yeah, so I think Jim Broadbent plays the Grand Maester in the Old City.
Oh, dude.
Wow, I thought that was gonna be a way more fun fact than it was.
From one peripheral actor to another peripheral actor in another show.
Gilly, that's the girl he saves. Oh my gosh. I just rewatched Game of Thrones last year, but I feel like I need to rewatch it again. I've forgotten so much.
Yeah,
But yeah,
you've forgotten so
yeah, you don't even know who Sam is.
I just forgot. Game of Thrones, I think the ending was so disappointing that it just left a sour note in everyone's mouth. Because, like, if you remember when Game of Thrones was coming out, everyone was like, you have to watch this. This is the
Yeah.
greatest show of our generation. And then the ending was just so bad or lackluster that no one talks about Game of Thrones anymore.
Oh
Like
my God, I
we
know.
still talk about Gilmore Girls, like well, you still talk about Gilmore Girls.
We.
We or Sex and the City, or like these other types of iconic shows that still come up, The Office, but
Yeah.
no one really talks about Game of Thrones anymore. It's so
I
sad.
know. It's like our embarrassing uncle we want to brush under the rug and never talk about. It's
Yeah.
such a shame. Yeah, for 7 seasons, it was the greatest show that television had ever created, and
Yeah.
then it just got so ruined so horribly. I remember being pissed. Like, I started watching the show pretty late, I think after season 5 or 6. But if I had been a loyal watcher since season 1, I would have been so pissed. And just the fact that, like, they were so lazy about it too. Oh my God, we could rant about Game of Thrones
Yeah.
forever. But yeah, like, the fact that in season 8 there was a Starbucks cup in the middle of one of the scenes
Yeah.
in Winterfell. Yeah, just so fucking bullshit.
Yeah, they got so lazy and I don't know, it just wasn't true to any of their characters how all that stuff ended. It was like, oh, Arya just like did this and Cersei just like got exploded and like that's it. Like that's how she ends.
I know. I know. Ugh,
Yeah, just kind of
such a
just gave
shame.
up at the end. The characters just gave up at the end. They were all
Yeah.
so tired.
They were like, get us out of this contract, whatever it takes.
Seriously. But yeah, it left such a bad taste in my mouth that was also one of the reasons I didn't want to watch House of the Dragon because I was
Mm,
like, yeah, meh,
yeah.
hot D,
Hot D.
hot D. All right, well, should we rate?
Sure.
Get this ish over with.
I think I would give this show a 3 out of 10. Like, it gets 3 points because the animation was really cool. And yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I think I would give overall the season as a whole together 3 out of 10. There were definitely some episodes that I liked more than that, and there were some episodes that I liked less than that.
Yup.
um, yeah, so yeah, I guess overall 3 out of 10. I will say though, I probably will still watch Volume 5 because I think it is enough of a teaser, or they had enough of a teaser this season that I would want to see more of that world. And maybe in Volume 5 they would do a sequel of some of them. like they've done in
Okay.
the past. But we'll see. I'll
I
probably
would
still watch
require
it.
you to remember what happened this season and or rewatch.
Rewatching a 10-minute episode, I can crush that for my morning coffee, you know?
All right.
Easy. Um,
Cool.
cool. Binge in progress time.
Binge in progress. Oh my gosh, what have I watched?
Oh, I can start. I started a
Okay.
new show on the plane. It's called Forever, and it's on Netflix. The Netflix synopsis was something like just a Black Gen Z story, is what it said. Yeah.
Interesting.
Maybe let me actually come up find it so I don't say anything bad or intentionally give away spoilers. Okay, so premise: reunited as teens, two childhood friends fall deeply in love, experiencing the joy and heartache of a first romance. So,
Okay.
yeah.
How's it going
Um,
so far?
it's pretty good. I think we had kind of talked about it with one of our friends. I think our sister had watched it, and then Sarah also had watched it or was in the process of watching it. I can see what Anju means. I think she said that she thought that they were kind of not good actors.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can kind of see that definitely in the beginning. I felt like they caught feelings for each other really quickly, and then they kind
Mm.
of talked about it, but even the interactions that we saw, it was like, what? So I think that was a little bit required suspension of disbelief. But so far it's pretty good. It's very like up and down emotionally, and I think the reason why I'm not super, super invested in it is that I normally hate situations in TV shows where everything is kind of just like a misunderstanding, or like
Mm.
the main conflict is because of a misunderstanding or
And you're like,
miscommunication.
just communicate.
Yeah, exactly. I'm
Yeah.
like, just be honest with your feelings and talk to the other person. And like, that's how you get through this conflict. I hate it when people do that
Yeah.
in TV shows. I think it's intentional because they're supposed to be in high school and they're still figuring out how to communicate and all of these things. But I found that part a little irritating.
Okay.
But I'm still watching it, so hopefully it clears up soon.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I feel similarly about romances in general, books, TV, or otherwise. I feel like at this point in my life, I'm over 30 years old. I just like have no patience for these people. I think Emily Henry's books are guilty of this, where a lot of times I'm like, it's not that deep. Like just you like why are you reading into this so much? She'll be like the or I'm trying to think of an example. The girl will be like, "Oh my God, after we kissed, I didn't hear from him for 2 days, so he must have decided that he hates me and never wants to see me again." And it's like, you know that his dad is sick. It's probably something to do with his dad, and then it is, like
Yeah.
I just can't. Yeah, I have no patience for that, and so I don't know. I don't know if I can watch forever, but maybe I'll give it a shot. Cause
There was a situation in Forever that was very similar to that.
okay,
But I think it's gotten to the point now where um the main conflict is not really communication, at least between the two people. It's more of communication with other characters. So
okay,
that's why I'm like, okay, let's see how this plays out.
yeah. Okay, cool. I think the only show besides the ones we've been watching for this podcast that I've watched recently is my sister and I are rewatching Parks and Rec,
Oh,
which I always love doing. And right now we're on season 6. I just watched the episode where uh, oh yeah, it's the very beginning of season 6 when Leslie's about to get recalled and Tom finds out that the person that's copying his business is John Ralphio and Mona Lisa's dad, Dr.
yeah.
Saperstein.
Those are the best, like, like aside from the main characters, they're the best side characters ever.
Oh my God, how are those two not related? Jenny Slate
Seriously.
and Ben Schwartz, they're so amazing.
Wait, I'm so excited. I'm gonna go see Schwartz and Friends in Oakland in July, I think. Yeah.
I'm so jealous.
You're out of town, right?
I'm out of town.
Yeah. So
Boo.
I'm happy that I'm gonna get to see them in Oakland.
Yay!
Well, anyway.
All right. Well, thanks for yapping with us. That's gonna be our outro before our outro every time.
Thanks for yapping with us. If you loved this episode, have some hot takes we missed, or if you've got a show you're dying for us to binge next, follow us on socials. We're at Binge Yap Repeat.
Until next time, happy binging!